Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. That theme music means it's time for our weekly conversation with the Wirepoints.org boys, all things Illinois policy related. Mark Glennon, founder of Wirepoints, will join us momentarily. Talk about the governor's race. We're a month away from the primary election. Are you paying attention? Have you voted? Are you going to? Are you telling others? In the Republican primary for governor, as everyone knows, who listens to the show, I'm supporting Ted Dabrowski, working for Ted Dabrowski. He's the only candidate that gives us a chance to beat Pritzker, and it's not close. But, I mean, that's not the only reason I'm supporting. He's also like a committed, common-sense conservative like we've been trying to install in the governor's mansion forever and never have gotten one. And that explains why Indiana has gone one direction and Illinois has gone another. Why Wisconsin went one direction, at least under Scott Walker, now is going the other direction, the Illinois direction. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we've needed for a long time. And Dabrowski fits that bill. But it's interesting, especially with Rick Heidner in the race, with both of them, with both Bailey and Heidner. With Rick Heidner in the race because he's a bipartisan combine guy. He made his money through Illinois' mob economy. Paying to play to get video poker licenses to pollute the landscape in the suburbs and get from the back pocket what the state can't get through the front pocket from the residents it preys on. And so that meant donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to Democrats, including Kim Foxx, including Brandon Johnson. Some of the donations, including to those two folks, a little curious per his cover story that this is all what you have to do business in Illinois. But even if that's what he thought, and even if that is what it is in Illinois, so we should settle for a race to the bottom. We should settle for a kleptocracy. The way that you make your way in Illinois is to pay to play. That's just the resting state of affairs, and we just have to accept that and play the same game. And that leads us where? As a party and as a state? It's a curious contention. Chase Heidner is his daughter, Rick Heidner's daughter. And I wouldn't bring her up, but she's insinuated herself into this process, which she has every right to do. And then we have every right to comment on it as she is defending her father's pay-to-play approach to politics. And also, somewhat hilariously, decrying GOP infighting. Rick Heidner has been in the Republican Party for all of 5 minutes. And now getting lectured about what is, frankly, not even a contentious primary for anybody who's ever been through a primary. But, of course, they haven't.
Dabrowski, okay? Restore Illinois, Ted Dabrowski for governor. Dabrowski has been attacking my father for his donations because my dad has donated to both Republican and Democrats, okay? He's been attacking my father for his donations since the get. But listen, if you have any sense of a business mind, you know that you have to be able to work with both sides in a deep blue state if you want to be able to get any business done at all. So Dabrowski, the fact that you don't understand that is a red flag to me to begin with, because Illinois is one big business and you got to be able to run it. So if you don't know that and if you can't pick that up from the get, that's a problem, number one. Number two, Ted, if you want to dish that out to my dad and you want to talk about donations, I would much rather have a governor who self-funded his own campaign than a governor who took money from Democrats. Again, if you want to bring this up, if you want to go toe-to-toe, how come you took $750,000 in Democrat donations to fund and kick off your campaign? What's going to happen when one of these donors, Edgar Botchrak, who donated $100,000, pulled Democratic ballots, John Canning, $100,000, Noel Moore, $125,000, Megan O'Keefe, $100,000, James Perry, $250,000, $250,000. What's going to happen when Perry picks up the phone and says, hey, remember that $250,000 I gave you to fund your campaign? Well, I have a favor to ask. You want to claim my dad's a rhino? No, we hosted Eric Trump at our house for a fundraiser. Don Jr. at our house for a fundraiser. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders for a fundraiser. Drop the narrative. Find a different tactic.
Aren't you cute, Chase? You have no idea who those people are, but I do. Jim Perry is a Democrat. Jim Perry is a conservative Catholic. He pulled a ballot to vote for Vallis in the Democrat primary because he lives in Chicago. And he helped raise money for Vallis, too, because he didn't want to see Brandon Johnson. That's pretty understandable. That's doing the best you can on a landscape that doesn't provide much. James Perry is, Jim Perry, that she's talking about, is a donor to pro-life causes and all sorts of conservative Catholic causes. He helped write the Arch's finances because he's a very successful private equity guy with Madison Dearborn. And I could go down the list with the others. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Your dad made his money through the mob economy, as I was saying. We contributed to Republicans and Democrats. He is a 95-5 Democrat, paying to play. And that's the way you do business in Illinois. That's the larger point here. That's just the way you have to do business in Illinois. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand how Illinois works. Well, that's the whole point, young lady. Illinois doesn't work. It's not broken, it's fixed. And it's wonderful that your dad was able to insinuate himself into the combine environment where he could get the special deals and the waivers and the licensures to enrich himself at the public's expense. Wonderful for him. It doesn't work for everybody because a mobocracy only works for the inside guys. It's the inside guys, small number, the outside people who finance it all and get fleeced to enrich the inside guys. And that's not a great way to operate a state. Yeah, you don't understand. Right. Ted Dabrowski doesn't understand. I don't understand. Tell us what we don't understand, Rick and company. For more on this, Mark Glennon, founder of Wirepoints.org. Mark, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan. I'm looking at a text I just got from one of our mutual readers and listeners. It says, I'm listening to Prof. Be cheerful and authoritative. Don't be a grump. Well, how am I supposed to not be a grump, when we talk about these kind of things? It's impossible.
I mean, I'm perfectly cheerful. I mean, it's borderline comical. But I mean, these people don't know what they're talking about, and they're this cover story they're presenting, Brandon Johnson and Kim Fox donations, and on and up the food chain in that party. I mean, and the cover is, again, this is how you do. That's the big point. This is how you do business in Illinois. Well, therein lies the exact problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, and look, Ted, of course, is my former partner, a friend, and so I'll try to be careful to be neutral here. You pick your candidates here and vote as you choose, and I'm not endorsing anybody. But you really need to listen to Heidner's pitch. Basically, it was a matter of policy here for him too. His closing statement in one of the joint appearances he made said, look, when I built my real estate operations, I get incentives locally and from the state. And that's a good thing. The state has to be doling out these things. That's the way we need to do things on a bigger scale. So that's really a statement of policy. It's one that we at Wirepoints, of course, adamantly disagree with. You got to keep the state out of these things, and the government is no good at picking winners and losers. So you got a pretty clear choice in front of you if you believe that. On the other hand, if there's anything to be said in Heidner's defense, the whole system is a shakedown. Should you buy into this system? Are the business people who do these things paying bribes, or are they getting shaken down? Well, the system is a shakedown. I, for one, don't think you should institutionalize that. We need to get away from it.
Yeah, he wasn't getting shaken down. That was a choice that he made to go into these businesses to line up the people that he needed to engage in order to obtain the licensures he needed, say at the local level as well as the state level. Was no shakedown. By the way, excuse me, I'm being lectured by Heidner and company, the same guy who had a $5 million lien against him, the IRS, because he's such a businessman impresario. One other thing, he's being backed. He's not self-financing, not completely. He's being backed by Leopardo Construction, for example. Leopardo Construction does all kinds of government housing. Once you're in the combine, the layers of combine relations never stop. And then it's just, as I said, a self-enrichment scheme. I've been watching it. I've been in it for 3 decades. This is nothing new. It's nothing particularly creative. It is a straight line. And, if Republican primary voters who've been around as long as I have or longer haven't figured this out yet, then shame on them. I mean, it's the same old racket, the same old rap about that racket.
It's uniquely bad in Illinois. I practiced law for 20 years, doing a lot of economic development stuff, bond financings in different states around the country, which is, can be a pretty dirty business. There's nothing like it as bad as Illinois in terms of how all this stuff becomes political, all the shakedowns and everything else, or bribes or whatever you want to call them. Maybe New Jersey and some other particular cities, but Illinois is in a class by itself, and that's our fundamental problem.
You heard Jeannie Ives' commentary, probably the intro of this segment, talking about this problem. And this is beyond Dabrowski. This is just the administration of elections in Illinois. And here we go again. Nothing new, the sort of incompetence and indifference to incompetence. So Ted's name is spelled Tad on the ballot in Champaign County. And the Champaign County clerk, who's the husband of the Champaign area state representative, both Democrats, don't want to be bothered to correct their mistake. Interesting. By the way, the Champaign County clerk, Aaron Ammons, is somebody who is part. What's that?
Former con.
Yes, he's an ex-con who is pardoned by Quinn for heroin possession, among other charges. But he married Carol Ammons, who's the state rep, so then he became the Champaign County clerk, because that's how it works in Illinois, too. Anyway, he's not interested in it. And as Jeannie was detailing here in her commentary that was just played, so we have 3 different ballots for the Republican primary, at least for the governor's race, circulating around the state. I mean, really?
Yeah, and she did a nice job on that, too. Severino is on the ballot in at least 5 counties. So those people who are already voting for him, because the early ballots are out there, they'll have their votes invalidated. Had they known that he's not allowed to be a candidate, they would have chosen somebody else. So they would effectively been deprived of their right to vote. And this all derives from this big mess that the Democrats created with early voting and early mailing deadline, and it all got compressed so that it's very difficult for the clerks to do their job properly. And if they're tempted to do something nasty, they've got the opportunity, and there's no time to correct these things. We're really teetering on the edge of something chaotic here. And in Ted's case, he put a lot of money and effort into branding himself as Ted. I saw his press release where he says it's all an accident by the clerk. I think he's being a little generous there. Maybe I'm a little more suspicious, perhaps, than Ted is. But this is a mess, and it's apparently going to get worse.
Well, right. I mean, it's as you just indicated, it's disenfranchising. People don't know. You're getting different ballots in different places, at least in a handful of places, but in some of the most populous counties in Illinois. I mean, it disenfranchises voters. It can skew the results, and you get a shoulder shrug from the local election authorities, who are, of course, I'm sure would be quick to describe themselves as the great vanguard of our democracy.
Yeah, I just hope that it doesn't reach the point where people who want reform out there throw up their hands and stay home and don't vote. Please go out there and vote. And I don't care who you pick as your reformer, whether it's Ted or Eidner or somebody else, but find a reformer and go vote for him.
Mark Glennon, founder of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Dan. Yep.
And Mark joined us, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you or someone you love are getting high quotes for dental implants, visit almostfreeteeth.com today. With a medical PPO insurance plan, it's possible to save 90% off on average to be able to smile again. Check if you qualify now at